documentation to the BMV. Through our partnership with the BMV, they share that information with us, and we use that BMV data to match it against the statewide voter rolls. Those 125 individuals identified provided non-citizenship documentation to the BMV, so this was self-reporting, and they did this on at least 2 occasions, and it wasn't until after the second time, after they would report the data, they would either register to vote or cast a ballot, and then re-reported that data to the BMV that they were still not a citizen of the United States, that we flagged these. So we put it through a very strict filter to make sure that we don't make mistakes and don't misidentify anybody in this review. But I want to review for you. If you recall, I've said this many times. When I got to the Secretary of State's office, we only had complete data on 20% of the voters in Ohio. And when you don't have complete data, you can't do very good cross matches. We are now up to having 90% of the data complete for 90% of the voters on the voter rolls in Ohio, which allows us to do a better cross match and to identify these issues. Better data means a better system. Now, this, as I said, during these 2 reviews, we've now totaled 436 non-citizens on the rolls, 44 of them voted. And the reason that we were able to find this was because of the BMV data that we had. What we don't know is how many people are on the voter rolls in Ohio that used the last 4 digits of their Social Security number to register to vote. We don't have access to that data. We cannot do those cross matches. And so that is why some of you have seen this in the news. I wrote the president back in January, following up to his announcement of his executive action on immigration, because what that would have done is, if it goes through, will give up to 5 million more individuals who are not citizens of the United States access to a Social Security number, which is the document that you need to register to vote, and one of the documents, along with the driver's license number, that you can use to register to vote. And we have no way to cross-match that to know whether those individuals are on the rolls in the state of Ohio. And so we wrote the president, we asked him to give us access, because this is a problem now. The executive action would make the problem worse, but right now anybody who is legally in America, who has access to a Social Security number, or a driver's license, is who is popped up in the reviews that we've done. But those who use the Social Security number, we still cannot identify them. So we don't know how big the problem is. We don't know if it's a big problem. We don't know if it's a small problem. But that's the reason I wrote the president, because we need access to this information to be able to determine how many people who are not citizens have used Social Security numbers to register to vote, and we need access to the names. And again, we asked the president for this: the names, the dates of birth, and the last 4 digits of Social Security number for people who are receiving Social Security numbers who are not citizens of the United States. And if we have access to that information, we can do a better job of cleaning up our voter rolls and making sure that there are not any additional votes that will be cast that shouldn't be. Why is that important? Well, obviously from the standpoint of making sure that the integrity of the elections process is maintained. There's a lot of rhetoric on the political left and political right regarding voting, particularly in places like Ohio. And as you know, I have always tried to make that match between making it easy to vote and hard to cheat and building people's confidence in the election. We want to build a better system of elections. But I want to do this without putting any barriers between the voter and the voting process. What we're talking about doing is not creating a burden for any additional voter in doing this. We're asking the federal government to give us access to information that we can match against our database to solve the problem without inconveniencing anybody. There are other states who have put in place birth certificate requirements, proof of citizenship, those kinds of things. We're not talking about doing any of that stuff in Ohio. We don't want to burden anybody any more than they already are. We want the federal government to give us the information that we need so that we can prove to Ohioans that our system is running with a high level of integrity.